man, it's nice to see you. Tell me every single aspect of your life right now. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 165. It is the second day of the week, aka the Quadzilla workout. I am on my way to the gym right now, going a little later than I wanted to, but that was because my stomach is a little upset. But still going anyway. Here's to hoping I don't poop myself during squats. So, anyways, to the main subject today, which is inspired by the fact that one, I don't really have much to talk about, but two, the other day was talking about Twitch and my experiences there. And one of the subjects that probably frequently came up, and I know I went off on a little tangent about it, was the entire idea of the parasocial relationship. Now, the parasocial relationship, for those who don't know, I will probably do the definition on the voiceover, so hold out for that, but still. But to give you a brief understanding, a parasocial relationship is a made-up relationship with somebody else that you don't actually know or interact with in real life. So, in theory, that is something where it is like a one-sided friendship almost. You could see it as that. This is a huge thing in our society nowadays. I mean, people want to see this for a lot of people. This is a career path almost, but also it is so easy for people to fall into the parasocial relationship with other content creators that it is super easy. Like, it is insanely easy for that to happen. People have lost the ability to have that separation between person and entertainer. There you go. So a lot of the times you get these deep, intimate, knowledgeable things about a person, and all of a sudden it's like you know them, but in reality you don't. But in reality, the other person is kind of selling that, but it also depends on what they're doing. Now, in this video series that I'm doing currently, am I selling the parasocial? Not really. In a way I am, but also the most that I want to do with this is make this like a journal style thing where I talk and interact with people and give my thoughts and opinions about things. That's just what I wanted to do, which is more or less could be interpreted as an intrapersonal thing. But it's something like, let's say, live streaming, where you become friends with people and all of a sudden you're having inside jokes with them and doing all this other things and selling your basic companionship for X amount of dollars, or just sitting there being with someone. It's a little bit of a different experience, and that's just live streaming. That isn't the only way that people actually quote parasocial. There are other platforms too that do it, that are a little bit more adult oriented and a little bit more money heavy, if you know what I mean. That's a whole other conversation for all of today, but I might just talk a little bit about it later, because I want to do this in the broad internet perspective, because realistically it still happens on something like here, YouTube, even in videos, because people will misinterpret the entire video making process into a friendship making process, which is understandable. I get it. It's like we as humans were not programmed to view these things in mass quantities and not have these misinterpretations not already happen. I feel like this is something that was bound to happen regardless, because of how this thing works. I mean, even before social media, you had people that would like think that they're friends with celebrities, you know what I mean? Things like that, and obsessed with them as well. So it is something that has always been there, I feel like. So it isn't necessarily unique to social media. The only thing about social media that has exacerbated it is the ability that anybody can do it, one, and two, the fact that anybody can become it and anybody can be a follower. So because of that, it opens up the floodgates for literally anybody and anything to become popular and or have a quote fan base and or quote friends online, or have the parasocial relationship become easier. Depends obviously on how much the person allows their life to be shown, and we'll get to that probably in the voiceover. The parasocial aspect of it, of social media, is something that has been understated. I probably stated quite enough, but I don't think it's been stated enough, honestly, because I feel like most people don't realize that is what a lot of people want on the internet, and this is probably more broader terms speaking. I would say that this has more to do with the loneliness epidemic that is happening on both sides of the spectrum, which we will probably touch upon today, but not really go into, because that is a whole subject on its own, because I would like to talk about that. When it comes to parasocial relationship, I guess I'll give a couple of perspectives, because I could say I've been in both sides of the camp, really, so I understand what it's like. Even though I was a small-time Twitch streamer, I still had enough of a community to have had things to happen that are like parasocial relationships and things like that. So that is the one downside of it from being on that side. But I'll say this on the other side of it, though. There are a couple of those parasocial relationships that ended up becoming just friendships. So they are very rare, few and far between, but they do happen. It is something where you can be friends with somebody that you happen to meet via that, but it is the exception and not the case, because people are fucking weird. But that's we'll get into that when we get inside.
Alright, so started off this day with squats, which were pretty alright, but it's not the point of this video. The point of this video today is talking about parasocial relationships. Now, I will start with the Wikipedia introduction about this, although Wikipedia isn't necessarily fully trusted, but still we will go with Wikipedia and how first they start off with parasocial interaction, which becomes a parasocial relationship after repeated exposure to the media persona causes the media user to develop illusions of intimacy, friendship, and identification. Positive information learned about the media persona results in increased attraction and the relationship progresses. Parasocial relationships are enacted due to a trust and self-disclosure provided by the media persona, which is something that I've been on both sides of. I would say more so one than the other. Personally, I've been the person to be in the parasocial, as in I have exposed myself a little too much out there for people. When I was a streamer, this was very, very easy, and also honestly what streaming is, but we'll get back to that. And then the other side, where I've talked to other people where I've been like, oh, I'm watching this YouTuber, I know a lot about this person, but in reality you kind of have to remind yourself, oh hey, I don't actually know this person. I don't know why I'm identifying with them as a friend. And it's a little bit tough, especially if you don't catch yourself, because you can easily fall into this type of thing. It's not even a relationship, it's just more of a one way or the other. And the advantage that you can take, whether you are the person that is on top or the one that is receiving and or making this illusionary relationship happen, is very tenfold. You can control a lot of people by doing it. It's very weird, but also easily done if you're not very careful about it. It is kind of crazy. It does say something about the responsibilities that somebody has as the person that puts themselves out there in order to remind other people, hey, don't listen to me as a friend. I am my own person. Just because I'm doing these things out here doesn't necessarily necessitate that I am your friend. And that was something that I had to learn the hard way while doing streaming. I had to basically like reassure these people, listen, I will talk to some of you and we will be friends, but not all of you are my friend. You know, there's like that distance that you have to kind of create. And I've had other experiences with other YouTubers that I watch will say that, because they have to kind of like put a barrier between the person and the fan inside a person and just people watching. There's a big difference, and it's very, very tough to straddle that line sometimes, because you kind of have to put yourself out there. But if you put yourself out there too much, then people will get too attached to the things that you're saying, and that's a little too much. Another part of this that I feel like has happened and made it so this has become more prevalent is because of just general loneliness around in the world. There is a genuine loneliness epidemic that's starting to creep up and happen, and I feel like a lot of people aren't realizing that it is happening. I mean, you could see it on a lot of different things. I don't want to touch too much on this subject, but I'll briefly mention the fact that there was a kid that ended up committing unaliveness. I have to keep it PG because YouTube doesn't like big real words, so he did that because of an AI. This should just tell you how crazy the world has become when it comes to loneliness and all this other feeling of stuff. It's weird how in a world where we can have interaction with anybody at any time and any place, people feel more lonely than ever. But that's more of a outside social dynamics perspective, which I will get into in a different episode, because this is more of a one-sided thing. I wanted to discuss that, being the fact that it is one-sided is because some people are just fucking weird, and that's the thing. I think people don't realize that they are weird. And in either way, either they are the person that are attracting the weird people, or the people that are attracted to them are slightly weird. It's like something's off in both ends. As I've been on both sides of the spectrum, I can tell you that I've experienced and dealt with a lot of weird people in my life. In fact, there are people that are still kind of in my life, unfortunately, because they're fucking weird. They are people that will never really listen to you, but will think beyond you, almost like think past you, like not listen to any of the things that you're saying, but think these ideas of what they would think you're saying and then react to that. And it is very strange and very upsetting, because sometimes those are the types of people that you have to deal with if you are a creator, and you got to make sure that you aren't becoming one of those people if you are interpreting or consuming content, because people it can easily become very, very strange like that, and then thus you kind of bleed your online or whatever persona that you have in this social interaction or parasocial interaction into your regular social interactions, and then that becomes very weird and you become almost ostracized in regular society. It's almost as if you don't really get a good grip on what you should be doing socially, and it just ruins and skews everything. So you got to be careful about that.
Insert some joke about parasocial shit here. If not, just hit him with the, hey guys, what's going on? Isn't this a great inside joke? And we're back! Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none, surprisingly. Got everything in, which is very nice. Back to the main subject matter at hand. Parasocial relationships. Now, the reason why I talked about this, I said it earlier, was because of that one video about Twitch, and this is a big enough subject to talk about on its own. But I also wanted to heed a warning for those who, one, want to create content, but two, also want to consume content, to be aware that you might or may not be falling in the trappings of a parasocial relationship, whether it be with your audience or as an audience member into the person you are watching. Be careful with these things, because both things can easily be manipulated. As the creator, you don't want to lose any of the people that are watching you, and while as the fan, you may be trying to get more out of the relationship than is actually there, and or they're trying to use their relationship dynamic with you to try to get you to do something for them, whether it is buy a product, donate to them, or whatever other nefarious purpose it is. Now, if they're asking you to do something free and simple or whatever, it is what it is, but it's never really free, easy, and simple, is it? Only things that are free are like, comment, and subscribe. But anyways, that's a YouTuber for you. But with that being said, though, be careful, because it's a double-edged sword regardless of whether you do it or you have it being done to you. You got to be careful about it, because there are some people out there in this world that are fucking crazy, and they will think that you are their best friend even though they've never met you. Or you could be the crazy motherfucker, and be careful about that too, because nobody likes you and everybody hates you, and you are too attached to people that don't really fucking care. So, be very careful of either or. This is more of a heedance and a warning to those who may or may not follow it. People will probably do it anyway, because it is so ingrained in social media now, with things like memes and communities and Discord. It's all there. It's gonna keep happening, but be aware of which of the two that you fall in under, and be wary of those who are unaware of where they might fall, and be careful with it, because you never know which one you are falling into. Both, if you go head first and head deep, can be equally as bad. One a little bit more evil than the other. As for being the content creator, you can leverage it to do a lot of shit, you know? There is always a trend with Minecraft YouTubers and certain things that I'm not allowed to talk about, but they always seem to have a predisposition to like a certain type of person. Let's just leave it at that. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this. This is a very interesting and different subject. Well, it's not really that different, but it's an interesting subject to me nonetheless. I like talking about these types of subjects because it is something that we generally are aware of, but some people talk about it, some people don't, and some people don't talk about it to keep it in the hush-hush so that way they can use the strategies in order to use it to their benefit maximally. It is what it is. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, whether it be if you're on one side or the other side, or have seen it from one side or the other side. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video, hopefully. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. Please share this video with somebody who may or may not have had this experience. You never know. Maybe they'll awaken their eyes and realize, holy shit, maybe I'm that person. But it is what it is. So it'll be interesting. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Please take care. Keep it heavy. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!